Do not miss any of our cool videos. Subscribe to our channel for latest updates. Click on the bell icon now.
An OLED-based Etch-a-Sketch on the Raspberry Pi Pico. Well, let's get into it. Hi, and welcome to Robocraze. My name is Shiv, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make a basic Etch-a-Sketch using an OLED screen, two potentiometers, and a button on the Raspberry Pi Pico using MicroPython. Now this video is the fifth in our series where I am teaching you how to program the Raspberry Pi Pico microcontroller using MicroPython. So if you haven't checked out the other videos, I suggest that you check them out and then join us over here. I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description down below and in the cards above over here. So let's get started. So to begin with, I have connected the OLED display to the Pico using the same connections as shown in the last video. You can check that out in the description down below. I'll leave the link to the last video. But basically we have connected VCC and ground and SCL and SDA pins over here. I've also taken the VCC and ground pins and connected them to these rails over here. The top rail is ground and the bottom rail is VCC. So let us now connect these two potentiometers. These potentiometers will basically be to control the X and the Y axis of the pointer. So we'll control the Y axis using this and the X axis using this potentiometer. I'll connect these two potentiometers to the ADC 0 channel, which is GPIO 26 as you can see in the pin diagram over here, and the other one to the ADC 1 channel, which is the GPIO 27 pin over here. So I'll just take two sets of jumper wires and quickly connect the potentiometers. So I have connected 3 wires to the potentiometer. So the leftmost brown wire is ground, the rightmost red wire I will connect to VCC, and the middle wire, which is the signal, will go to this ADC channel 0. So I'll just connect that quickly. I have my VCC, my ground on top of that, and ADC channel 0, which is GPIO 26. So that's this one, 5 to the right of this one. If you want to check how to run an ADC on the Pico, you can check out one of our previous videos where I explain how to use an ADC with the potentiometer example. So now that the first potentiometer is connected, I'll go ahead and connect the second potentiometer. So I'll do the same thing. I'll have ground and I will have VCC, and I'll take these two and connect them to the ground and VCC rails over here. So the gray wire has to go to ground and the white wire goes to VCC, like so. And then I'll just take another jumper wire and I'll connect the middle pin, which is the output of the potentiometer, to the pin just next to the one where we connected the first potentiometer. So this will be ADC channel 1, GPIO 27, as you can see over here. So with that, our circuit is set up. Now getting into our Thorny editor, I have a very basic script over here which simply prints the text Robocraze on the screen. Now let us modify the script a little bit so that we can just print a cursor and control the X and the Y coordinates of that cursor using these potentiometers. So what I'm going to do now is, we can keep this line up till here. I'll just import ADC and pin from the machine module, and let us call our X, let's call it XADC, and that can be ADC channel 0, and let me call the other one YADC, and that I can make as channel 1. Now I make an infinite while loop, and over here I will I'll just first read the values of both the ADCs. So I just do x underscore ADC, or let me just say x underscore cursor is equal to x underscore ADC dot read u16. So we'll read the x ADC and store it, and then we can do the same for y cursor, and we can just do y underscore ADC dot read underscore u16. So now we have both of our values. Now we need a way to display this on our screen in the form of a cursor. Now u16 will give us values that are between 0 and 65535, but our screen over here is only 128 by 64 pixels wide. So we need to convert the 16-bit integer to something within the limits of our screen. So for that, I have a function over here that I'll quickly copy paste above the while loop. So there I have it. I have this function convert, which takes the value that I need to convert, the minimum input, the maximum input, and the minimum output and the maximum output value. So basically what I can go ahead and do is pass this to the convert function, since we are converting the value of the ADC, and I know it's going to be between 0 and 65535, and we want to convert it to a value between, let's give ourselves a little bit of margin on the x-axis. So I'll say from 5 to 120 instead of saying full 0 to 128. So I'll say 5 comma 120, and then we can do the same over here. So I'll just do convert and then y ADC, and then the same 0 to 65535, 65535, that is, to a value between, we can say on the y-axis we can keep slightly tighter margins, so 2 comma, it's 262. And now I can just go ahead and bring this line up here, these two lines, and let us just show a small cursor. Let's just take a dot and display it on the x cursor and the y cursor coordinates. So instead of hard coding the coordinates, I am now taking the values that are returned by the convert function by converting the ADC values from this range to this range, and then we'll just show it. Now to control this a bit, I'll just put a time.sleep of a very small value so that we have a good refresh rate on the screen. I'll go ahead and run this now, and let's see what kind of an output we get. So you can see I have the cursor over here now, and let me see what happens when I move each of the potentiometers. So I move this one, and as expected, we get movement in the y direction. And if I move this one, we get movement in the x direction. Now if I turn this to the left, my cursor goes to the right, and if I turn it to the right, my cursor goes to the left. This is a little unintuitive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reverse the direction of the x mapping. So I'll just say map it from 120 to 5 instead of the other way around. This function is actually very similar to the Arduino map function, if you're aware of it. So basically it just takes this from this range and converts it to a number between this, and I've just flipped it around. So that should switch the direction of the cursor when I move the potentiometer. So let me run this one more time. And now if I moved this potentiometer anti-clockwise, as in towards the left, we get movement towards the left, and similarly towards the right. So with this we have a very basic functioning Etch-a-Sketch. You can see over there sometimes we get jagged edges. That is because of some variation in the potentiometer values. So next we can look at stabilizing these values a little bit so that we don't get any jagged edges. But if you play around with this much, you can see we have a very basic form of a functioning Etch-a-Sketch, and we're controlling the pointer using our potentiometers. Now the reason that the image is persisting on the display is because I have not cleared the display using the OLED fill 0 function. So because of this, it is not clearing the screen, but rather just overwriting on top of it. So which is why we get this persisted image. Let us try stabilizing the potentiometer a little bit now. So in order to stabilize the potentiometer values, what I'm going to do is I'll declare two variables on top over here. Let's call them last X cursor, and let's assume it to be 0, and last Y cursor, and we'll assume that also to be 0. Now after we read both the X and the Y cursor values, I'll just perform a small check that if the absolute value of the difference between the current X cursor and the last X cursor is less than 2. So that means if there is a very small deviation between the last value and the current value, then I'm just going to ignore the new value and replace it with the last value. So what this will do is if there are any minor deviations in the value, it will assume them to be some jitter or noise, and instead of updating the value, it will just use the value from the previous loop iteration. So I've copy pasted this and done the same for the Y cursor. And another important thing over here is that at the end of my loop over here, I need to do last X cursor is equal to X cursor and last Y cursor is equal to Y cursor. Now what this does is for the next iteration of the loop, it makes sure that we have what values were there in the previous loop iteration so that we can perform our check and stabilize the readings. So I'll go ahead and press the run button and let's see what we get. So you can see the pointer looks pretty stable. I'll just move it in the X and the Y direction. So I take it up a bit. And you can see we are not getting any of those jagged edges anymore. And that's the Y direction. I'll do the same in the X direction. And there. So you can see we have much cleaner edges now. And that is basically how you can stabilize your cursor and get rid of those jagged edges that we were getting. Now you can see I have added a button to our breadboard over here. Now what we're going to do is modify our script in such a way that when we press this button, we'll clear the screen, so that if we have some drawing on the screen and we would like to start all over, we can simply go ahead and press the button instead of running the script again. Of course, if you run the script one more time, it will clear the screen for you. But I think it's better if we add a button, and whenever we press it, we can clear the screen instead of having to run the script again and again. So I've placed a button over here, and I'll just connect two jumper wires to the ends of this button. I've explained how to interface a button in one of the previous videos. You can go ahead and check that out. But one end of the button I'll connect to VCC, and the other end I'll connect to pin number this GPIO 14. So second pin from the right on the bottom. This is GPIO 14. And now we can go to our script and create an instance for this button. So I'll just call it clear underscore button and declare it as a pin. The mode will be pin.in. First we have to declare it. First we have to give what is the GPIO number, then the mode. So it's going to be pin.in, and then we have to configure it as a pull down pin. So pin.pull underscore down. So what this will do is it will configure the pin as an input pin and hold it in a pull down configuration, so that when we press the button and through the button the pin goes to VCC, we register a button press. And what I'm going to do is attach an interrupt to it as well. So I'll say clear underscore button dot IRQ and first we have to give the callback function. So we haven't declared the callback function yet, but let's give it a name first. So I'll just say clear button handle, and we'll call it pin.irq_rising. So on the rising edge of the button of the GPIO, so that is when we press the button, we'll trigger the callback function, and I'll declare the callback function over here. So clear button handle, and as I've explained in the previous videos, these callback functions have to take the pin as an input argument, and what we're simply going to do over here is declare OLED as a global. So basically we're trying to change this value, we're trying to operate on this handle, which is the handle to our OLED display, inside the function. Hence we need to declare it as global OLED so that it's able to access that variable, and then we can just do fill 0. So what this is going to do is just clear the screen. As I had mentioned earlier in the video, we are not doing OLED.fill0 over here, which is why we get a persisted image on the screen. But if we go ahead and do OLED.fill0, it will clear the screen for us. So now that our interrupts are declared, let's run it and see if we are able to clear the screen or not. Alright, so the script is running. I will just move the cursor around, draw something, and then we'll press the button and we'll see if the screen gets cleared or not. So there, I've drawn something on the screen, I press the button, and as you can see, the screen gets cleared. And you can try this any number of times. I'll just take my screwdriver over here for ease and just keep drawing random shapes onto the screen, and in the end we can simply press this button, and there, the screen gets cleared. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something today, and if you did, do leave us a like and comment down below if you have any queries, suggestions or ideas that you may want to share with us. Make sure you subscribe, because in the next video I'm going to add a few cool features to this Etch-a-Sketch project that we made right now. So don't miss that. Until then, keep learning, keep programming, and I'll see you in the next one.